this video is not about this. This is, I guess, kind of a ramble video. I'm probably put it in the ramble category because that's probably what it'll end up being. But I got this Nikon F, and yeah, oh, looks great. Look at that thing. Oh my lord. Eesh. This is just nasty. And then the lens it came with is a 50. It's just a 50-1.4. Pretty decent looking lens, you know, until you look at the inside there. And yeah, that would be rust. And right there, get some mold particles. But rust on the blades of the lens. And don't know where my light is. Oh, here it is. Okay, let's see if I can shine a little light on that. It's just gonna be hard with all the reflections going on, but you can still kind of see it in there. Yeah, look at that. Doesn't that just scream healthy? This is a K1000. This is a plastic K1000. This is the only plastic K1000 that looks decent because it's my friend's. So shout out to my friend, the Clydesdale, for this clean K1000. He recently hit me up and was like, yo, missing a mirror bumper there up on the top. And yes, he is. So gonna take care of that for him. And obviously I'm charging him, you know, $400 for labor, because this is very labor intensive stuff, you know. You don't think about it, but it takes a lot of effort to do what I do. And that's the truth. I'm joking. This is the easiest thing. First, I just like to kind of clean off whatever's there. This is usually some shit. I had a Nikon N80 actually, the like, you know, electrical one or whatever, the autofocus one, and I had a Vivitar Series 1, fucking 70 to 200, whatever, for it, and I thought it was great. That was like, I inherited that somehow. I didn't buy it. It was kind of like given to me through some series of events that I can't recall because it was more than 2 days ago and my memory's horrible. But I do recall that happening. I was like, when am I ever gonna really use this? Never was the correct answer, so I ended up selling it. Like, Pentaxes are odd because on like the advanced column, all of the screws that are normally like righty-tighty, lefty-loosey are the opposite. So that way when you're advancing, because you advance this way, you won't be loosening up the screws that's holding everything in. It makes sense kind of if you think about it, but if you don't know that, you could very well break the camera while you're taking it apart. That makes sense. However, when repairing a Nikon, all of the components are completely singular to the Nikon, so there's not a lot of interchangeability. The FE and FM and all of those things, the electronics on those operate so poorly and the current is so mismanaged that it's very often that there could be a short, and in the process of having that short, what am I doing here? I'm just gonna be putting a little bit of paint right there, so that way when I put this back on, the X will look as it should, which is to say it will look like that, which is kind of the general idea of having that, so it syncs up with the color of the 60, which is the flash sync speed. It's the little things, remember that. It's always the little things. So anyway, as I was rambling about, I may have mentioned this previously in a video, Or I may have just been talking to someone else. Again, memory not that great, so bear with me. But the general idea was that something like Fujifilm may last better than something like Kodak, because Kodak had pretty much monopolized the North American market. So all the film that was being shot, for the most part, all of the film that was being shot in North America previous to that point was likely Kodak. Now, Fujifilm was producing film, obviously, and making arguably really good film, but it was just primarily marketed towards, you know, the more Asian market and potentially Europe. I would have to look into that. Point being is that there wasn't much spread into North America up until the Olympics. Previous to that, a lot of Fujifilm that was bought and used in North America was likely bought by professionals who knew what they were doing. So in saying that, those professionals are also, they know how to store film. They know how to take care of the film that they have. So the older Fujifilm typically lasts longer, I think, because it was being shot and stored by quote-unquote professionals. Now, the same does not go for cameras, because to a photographer, okay, think about it this way. When you buy a new digital camera, you're basically buying upgraded specs. And we're just going to wait till this dries out, so I'm just going to keep talking. So, and I'm also kind of cleaning this off because it got dusty, and I think it looks cool. So, when you buy a new digital camera, you're trying to buy the upgraded specs, which means the internal processors, the new sensors, different codecs, the color, rendering, whatever it is you're looking for in that particular camera, that's what you're going for. Now, it's different with film cameras because you just buy the film. Like, the film is the specs of the camera. Now, that's not to say that like camera functionality does not play a role in that, but that is to say that you buy the camera. So like, say I've got a K1000, I know the limitations of this camera, but it's all basically on a mechanical functional level. Now I'm buying film to put into that so I can get a different look from this camera with that film. So it's a totally different mindset of photography, and the idea was that the film almost takes precedent over the camera itself. Like, obviously a professional will need to have a camera to have a job, but you know, they can kind of sling it around, and so long as the film is good and is preserved and stored properly, then they essentially have a job. So you get all these professional cameras like Nikons, for instance, that just look like absolute trash, and they have all these weird dents in the body and all these like weird parts missing and weird issues that you'll never see in another camera, because they were used so regularly and so heavily. And so people love using Nikons because they're very, you know, sturdy and reliable, and that's how they were designed to be. I hate working on them because they're incredibly complex, almost unnecessarily so, and they're usually in such poor condition by the time I get to them that it's almost not even worth working on, because there's more mold or there's more body damage than there is camera. So it's one of those situations where my bias really shows itself. If you like it, you like it. Who am I to come in and be like, oh, you can't like that thing? I'm not the fun police here, and I don't want to be. But I do think that it's, in my opinion, I will not buy a Nikon to use just because I like having things that I can take apart, that I can work on and fix. And with a Nikon, it's like, I'd rather just buy a new one. Okay. Just slide this back on. Boom. Look at that. Great. Great. You can kind of see in there. We're good. And then he has this really nice looking 51.4. So we're going to put this back on. Watch how. Cool. Easy peasy. I think that'll do us for today. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like the video if you dug it. Click on another video if you didn't like this one. Maybe you'll like that one more. Tell your friends about the channel. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. If you need any repairs done, I'm always happy to help or offer some advice. Comment below. And yeah, catch you on the next one.